Hey guys, welcome back to another vlog. I really like the first video that I did, so I just wanted to make another one. But I'm basically showing you that I'm really tired and that this is my Scooby-Doo jacket. And since we don't have patients today, this is why I'm not wearing my scrubs. But here I am, I'm showing you my calendar. I have two because one is like, well, doctors schedules are always changing, so you have to have one that's like okay to like mess up and rewrite, and then you have like one that's like nice and it's really up to date. Okay, and then like the reason I'm taking the time to do this for myself is because I'm not really good at looking like at the schedule. I don't know if you saw that paper that I pulled out and it was just like two columns and yada yada yada. Yeah, I can't read that. And even though I'm like the back MA, I do pick up the phones all the time, so I am scheduling patients. So two doctors are really easy to schedule because I know when they're in, but there's this one doctor who's kind of always changing his schedule around, so he has like his own schedule, you know, and so this calendar is also going to help me know when he is in clinic, especially when I have to schedule his patients. I can just look at my calendar and be like, he's working this day, he's not working this day. So, yeah, it's just like for me, this calendar is very useful when I'm scheduling patients or when I want to know like which doctor is rounding, because we do get hospital calls asking to talk to the doctor on call, and girl, I don't know all the time, so I'll just look at my calendar real quick and be like, oh, okay, this doctor is rounding this week, next week is another one, plus doing this is very useful because if I want to take a day off, I can look and see, when we don't have patients or when it's the doctor, on vacation. Even though, I'm an adult, if I want to take a day off, I want to take a day off. But I always feel like so, I don't know, like I look out for my coworkers, so I'm not gonna take a day off knowing it's gonna be super busy. But yeah, like you can see the difference. Like one is like kind of sloppy, and then the other one looks better. And look, yeah, you see that I did a whiteout because a doctor was gonna like take a vacation, and then like you see like some doctors switched like their hospital follow-up, and look at this, look at all that ugly ass writing. So yeah, when you're doing this, you need two calendars. So obviously this is the ugly one that I'm always rewriting. And then, oh, okay, look at me eating my Valentine spaghetti from Costco. So this is obviously my lunch. Oh, and then this is the thing. I'm so sorry. I'm going so slow. Basically, that was just like the program I went to. So they're gonna start classes again. So if you wanna go, it's super freaking cheap. Don't waste your time going to a freaking school for like 14 grand when you can go to an adult school and do it for like 3K. Save your money, girl. As you can tell by my food, I was eating Valentine ravioli, and I'm doing this voiceover like 2 months over, so I'm so sorry. I have like no idea what I'm doing in these videos anymore. But I want to say I'm prepping. Yes, I think I'm prepping. Okay, so when I prep, I like to print out a schedule of that day, and it shows me like the doctors and the patients who are coming, right? So what I do is I'll go and I'll go look into the patient's chart and see if they have any labs. If they do, I print it out and I print out the medication list because that's one of the main things the doctors want to be handed. And also if they did any ultrasound, then I need that. Sorry, my coworker came in. So yeah, anything that the doctor ordered in the previous appointment is what I'm gonna hand to the doctor. So in order to look at that, I look at the doctor's last note, and it's kind of the thing that tells you on the right side of the screen. So I just kind of go over it, skim it, what the doctor was talking to the patient about, if he ordered anything, and then I just kind of match it up to what it's there in their chart. And yeah, that's basically what I print out. And honestly, it's so easy when patients have like all their labs, but when they don't, it's what makes it kind of hard. But yeah, so I try to make my job easy. And so I go through all the patients, and then I just note down and start printing out the patients that do have their labs. And then that's when I start going to my second phase, like, okay, well, I didn't see any labs. Let me see why. I'll check if, for example, Quest. I'll go into the Quest portal and I'll see if they have any recent labs from another doctor. And if they do, I need to see the main component. So since I work in a kidney clinic, what I'm looking for is labs that show your kidney function. And the only labs that show that are the renal function, ACMP, ABMP. And if I don't see that, this patient is being seen, because there's nothing for us to talk to you about if we don't know how your kidney function is doing. So since I'm the back MA and I'm the one who's looking at these labs, I am that person now who decides if this patient is to be seen or not. And at first, when I started working here, they were telling me like, oh, if a patient has labs that are 30 days old, they need to do new labs. And I hated telling that to patients because, I didn't know what I was doing. But then, the doctors, once I got to know the doctors a little bit more, they were like, you know what, as long as I haven't seen these labs, since I last seen them, I'm okay in accepting it. But there is a borderline. Like, the doctors aren't going to see a patient when their labs are like 3 months old. But anyways, I'm like going away. But that's one of the main components that I look for is the kidney function. And only like those 3 tests will tell me that. But we're also looking for other stuff too, because just when you have kidney disease, a lot of other things are being affected. A lot of patients begin to become anemic because of chronic kidney disease. Your parathyroid hormone becomes affected, your vitamin D, like all these little components. Like the doctors order they order these labs along with the main component, the renal function. So so I'm basically the one like deciding like if we're gonna see this patient. So so that's what I'm looking for. So if I see that they did a lab for another doctor and it has at least 3 things that the doctor did order, I'm gonna be like, okay, you know what, you did half of what the doctor ordered. Let's go ahead and see you. So in that case, I would print it out, I would download it, add it to their chart, send it to the doctor, and yeah. And then, start going through the other patients. Okay, let's see why you haven't done your labs. sometimes they really just forget to do their labs. And in our clinic, we always tell them, do your labs 1 week before your appointment, because it's very important. Like, that's the only way we're going to see your kidney function is through these numbers from your lab test. And some people really don't get it, and we always have to be constantly reminding them, so it's kind of annoying. But yeah. And then there's like a section, so since everything's like electronically, you can kind of tell when a patient goes to the hospital. And so I'll start looking at that too, like, why hasn't this patient done their labs? Did they end up in the hospital sometime since our last appointment? And yes, bingo, I will find that. And when they go to the hospital, we kind of grab more stuff. Like, we grab the discharge paper, we grab the consult note, the renal consult note, we'll grab the progress note, the labs, the most recent labs that they did, any imaging. And I had to like print that out and download all of that into the chart, into like the appropriate like file name. Like, it's just like a lot of work, but it's fun. Like, I don't know, I think like it's so satisfying, like getting all their labs from all these different portals. But yeah, that's what I do. That's how I get, these patients stuff. And then like, and if I notice like, oh, they did like their labs a month or two ago, or they were in the hospital a month or two ago and they never wanted a follow-up, like, I'll give them a call and like, hey, you have an appointment coming up. I noticed you were in the hospital. Was this the last time you did any labs? And if you did, then that's okay. Like, we'll see you with what, your discharge paper said, and blah, blah, blah. Like, so that would be like my last step, like in prepping that, I have all these patients who did their labs, or like these patients that I found labs from other places and I still don't find anything. I'll give them a call like, hey, you have an appointment coming up. Did you do any labs? And if they tell me, oh, I forgot, can we reschedule? That would be my last like thing. I would be rescheduling the patients that don't have any labs. Like the day of clinic, I love to have a clean schedule and everyone has their labs. Like, I don't want to have like a patient on the schedule that doesn't have shit, like, yeah. So that's like my whole process in like prepping, and it varies. Like, it can take a long time or no. But yeah, and then here I'm just showing you that like sometimes when I print stuff, I had to like scan it into my computer. So you gotta learn how to scan stuff. You gotta be very technical in this field. And I'm just showing you how messy my desk is. So yeah, I'm just like prepping away. And yeah, so I guess in this clip, I'm already like starting to call a patient that I don't see that they have any labs. So this is, like I said, my last phase of like prepping, just calling those patients that I don't see labs for. And majority of the time they'll let you know like, oh, I just did them this morning. And it's like, oh, thank you for telling me that. We'll see you soon. It's one of the things that happen to like, when patients do it like the day of, like, it takes a while for all the labs to flow in. So maybe that's why I don't see anything. So I think this is what a patient did. So I just wrote down, hey, they did labs whatever date, and I write it down and I go on to the next patient. So I just love annotating my schedule. I'm very like specific. Like, I can put like, oh, I left message, patient hasn't answered, patient did their labs here. So I'm already like expecting like, oh, well, if this patient did their labs, I'm gonna wait, and I know they did their labs. But sometimes they'll still tell you, I'm gonna do it like in 2 days, the weekend comes or whatever, and they haven't done it, and then I call them and I'm like, hey, where are your labs? And then they'll tell me like, oh, I am so sorry, I didn't have time to do it. I'm like, perfect, I'm just gonna reschedule your appointment. But yeah, this is what I do. for prepping. And yeah, so like I said, at May I am in charge of inventory, of cleaning the room. So honestly, this is me just nitpicking and just like putting everything that looks into organizational. So I'm just checking if the room is like stocked and whatnot. And yeah, and I do this for all the rooms because so these 2 first rooms are for one doctor, and these 2 last rooms are for another doctor, and then the 3rd doctor, he kind of uses them all, just depending like if he's the only one there or if there's another doctor in clinic. But yeah, this is me just showing you that this room is good. And I love like the posters, like it's very informative. Yeah, it just sucks, like you get old and you really can't start eating, like you can't eat how you used to eat because everything is just not processed the way it is. But yeah, I'm just showing you all the posters, I guess. Yep, potassium is a very important vitamin that I'm always looking at in the labs. Too much potassium in your blood can cause your heart to slow down and you can die. Yep, look at this stuff. It's so cool. The way I just fixed that notebook or notepad, whatever. These last 2 rooms are like the prettiest because the patient bed is so pretty. Yes, people get gout, and it's because of uric acid in the blood. I didn't know what that was until I started seeing like the medication prescribed for this. Oh, allopurinol, the medication given for this. Like, oh, do you know how happy I am that like I know what medications are for what? I feel so proud of myself. Yeah, I couldn't get this one out. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing here. That was weird. I feel like I should cut that out, but I'm too lazy. Oh, and this is where I come prepare my injections. I'm also in charge of charging our BP machines. Like, well, I'm literally in charge of like anything medical. Yeah, and then these are our drugs. Remember when I said drug reps come? Well, these are basically all the medications that they want us to prescribe to our patients. And they're actually like pretty good drugs. They're very beneficial. So I hate when people be saying like big pharma, this and that. Like, dude, you have no idea some startup drug companies that are really like making a difference in patients' lives. But anyway, so here I am, just I guess I'm actually doing a prior auth here. Okay, so let me tell you, I hate that in this company the MAs have to do the prior auths. And I realized I don't have that much time, but prior auths are basically authorizations I'm trying to get for like specialty drugs, medications. And I'm like out of time, but this is me at the end of the day trying to go home. Till tomorrow. Yeah, thanks for watching.